My name is Katherine Connor, and I'm a victim of judicial corruption, police corruption, and financial corruption. I was maliciously and wrongfully convicted after filing a complaint against the district attorney and judge after I was falsely arrested for theft charges that I did not commit. During the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, I was given a FEMA grant, road home to repair my house. Unbeknownst to me, I hired an unlicensed contractor, and we entered into an agreement together that he would repair my home. The agreement was for $14,000, and I would give him $7,000 up front to begin, and he would get an additional $7,000 once the job was finished. I give him $7,000 to start, and throughout the project, I advanced him some payments. Then, when I gave him his last payment, I failed to deduct the payments that I had advanced him. I paid him, and then I caught the error, and I asked him to return the check. He refused to do it. And so I told him then that if he didn't, I would stop payment. And he commenced the argument that the payment that I had given him was correct. And so I stopped payment. So I thought that with that he would return the check and I would give him the correct payment, but he held that payment for approximately 3 weeks and turned it into an electronic item and was able to go into my checking account illegally and get the money anyway, $7,574. So at that time, I complained to my credit union, Pelican State, because they were the ones that were supposed to have stopped had put the stop payment order on the check. And so they apologized to me and asked me to come in and fill out an affidavit, and then they would put the money back into my account. Okay, I went in and I filled out the affidavit. Well, I got the affidavit and I looked at it and it said forgery. I told them at that time that was the wrong affidavit. I felt like it was wrong because it said forgery. And so they looked it over and assured me it was the correct one. So I took the affidavit to the notary as instructed. The notary looked at it and he had some problems with it. So I think he called them at that time and voiced his concerns that whether or not it was the right affidavit. They assured him that it was the right one that they used, and so he signed off on it and gave it back to me, and I gave it to them, and then they replaced the money into my account. Well, I thought at that point that the contractor then would reach a compromise with me and either bring the check back for a new one, or we'd sell it in small claims court. Well, he waited about 3 weeks and turned the check into an electronic item without my permission. So that's like wire fraud. And he went into my account and got the money anyway and was able to deposit it into his account. I complained to my credit union about it. They apologized for letting him do that, and that's when I filled out the affidavit. And so at that point, I'm thinking then he's going to compromise. He goes over to the sheriff's office and the DA's office and the sheriff's office, told him that I had stole his labor, and by stopping payment on the check, and that I had forged his name by using the forgery affidavit that that my credit union gave me an error. And no one contacted me on anything. I was arrested, taken to jail, placed on a $15,000 bond. I bonded out. I got a lawyer, and the lawyer assured me that it was going to be dismissed because it was a civil matter, and that it would be just a matter of me showing the proof that I had from my credit union that it would be dismissed. I went to my preliminary hearing. The judge wouldn't allow my lawyer to have the preliminary hearing, and so my lawyer told me that it was still going to be resolved. I didn't have nothing to worry about. About 4 or 5 months after that, it hadn't been resolved yet. And then I discovered, after applying for jobs, that I was turned down because this charge was in my record. This charge was in my record. And so I filed a complaint about it. And when I filed a complaint, it's like everything just broke loose. Suddenly I was convicted on a felony theft charge, even though my attorney had evidence in court to prove that I didn't owe the amount of money that this contractor claimed I owed, and continued to let the court know that this man was not even licensed to work in Louisiana, and he didn't have a residence here, and he didn't have a license, and he was unbonded. And I was convicted anyway. I was remanded back to jail on a $25,000 bond. I was bonded out again. I tried to appeal. The judge told the appeals court that I said I didn't want to appeal. So finally I was appointed a state attorney. And she filed a brief for me to appeal. I appealed to the First Circuit Court. The First Circuit Court agreed with the district court. I would say cronyism, because anybody that agrees with an unlicensed contractor from another state and saying that it is correct for him to practice or to build out here, and he doesn't have a license, he has to be has some kind of connection with the judge. But anyway, my case was denied. I appealed to the Louisiana Supreme Court. The Louisiana Supreme Court denied the writ. So the ruling of the appeals court supposed to have stood, but it didn't stand. What they said was any restitution that I pay should be based on my earnings. And my earnings was $558. That's what I netted. And I was told at that time the judge wanted me to pay $400 a month. And I was already struggling, but then with that amount of money, I couldn't make it. So then I got a new probation officer. The new probation officer lowered the payments to $388 a month. But then he expanded the payments out over time, which turned out to be more than the first probation officer. And he was at my house about 4 days ago. And he said, "Oh, you $576 behind." And I told him that I couldn't live and continue to meet those payments. I'm borrowing from my mother and other family members trying to meet those obligations. And it was never done according to the First Circuit Appeals Court of the ruling of the First Circuit Court. He said, "Well, Ms. Conner, you have to take that up with the judge." And so that's where I am with that. Since that time, I've been trying to get lawyers to overturn my conviction. I've even petitioned to the Governor General, and the Louisiana Ethics Board. But it just seemed like nobody hears me. And I would like to ask through this medium that the U.S. Department of Justice start to look into wrongful convictions and corruption within the courts and within other areas of the law where the people depend on these people for justice, and then you turn around and they criminals themselves.